it was on page 50 of Dopamine Nation. In a study of mice, sex increases the release of dopamine by 100%, and amphetamines, which is like drugs, right? Hardcore drugs, increases it by 1,000%. By this accounting, one hit of a meth pipe is equal to 10 orgasms.
Yes.
It's interesting to think about that the different behaviors we have and how they'll have a bigger impact on our dopamine. Is there like any, in a typical order of things that are like extremely dopamine inducing and things that aren't, what's at like the top and bottom of the list, but in your view?
You know, I really think that it depends on the person, and we've got to look at drug of choice, right? I mean, potent drugs like methamphetamine, like opioids, like alcohol, like nicotine, like cannabis, are going to be very reinforcing for many people, but not for all people. And most people do have their one drug that they sort of prefer above all others. So although generally speaking, intoxicants release a lot of dopamine in the reward pathway, I think every person is going to be different. And also, we don't really have good ways of measuring absolute values of dopamine in human beings, right? We can do that in rats, but we can't really do that in humans. It's relative values.
I've got this picture here which shows what looks like brain scans in a normal person, but then in someone who's addicted to different substances. I'll put this on the screen and I'll link it below in the description for anyone that needs it and wants to see it. But it effectively shows the impact that like cocaine has on the brain, meth, alcohol, and heroin. What is going on here?
So the red in this image represents dopamine transmission.
Okay.
So how much dopamine is being released from the presynaptic neuron, crossing that synapse, binding to receptors on the postsynaptic neuron, how much dopamine is kind of swirling around in the reward pathway part of the brain. And what this image shows is that on the left-hand side, in healthy control subjects who do not have addiction, there's plenty of red, right? So there's plenty of dopamine transmission in the reward pathway, specifically here in the nucleus accumbens.